248 podcast roundtable. What's going on, Lakers fans? Noah Cameras here, and welcome to another edition of the Lakers 248 podcast roundtable. As always, I'm here with an esteemed panel of experts. To my right is Mr. Noel Sanchez. Follow him on Twitter, Instagram, TikTok, anywhere else? Everything at Noise by Noel. Yes, and to my left is Mr. Ricardo Buddy Sandoval. I think I'm going to get this right. Follow him at _Ricardo Sand. Is that correct?
Yes, sir. Yes,
That's where you follow him. And I'm Noah Cameras. You can follow me at Noah Cameras on Twitter.
Best in the business.
NBA draft yesterday. A lot of good stuff happened. Honestly, kind of went as we expected, I want to say. Well, not a lot of big surprises. I think the biggest, in my opinion, was Cam Whitmore dropping to 20. People had him in the top 5. So that was kind of a big surprise. But I feel like for the most part, a lot of what we expected. The Lakers, of course, had pick number 17, pick number 40, because they had traded up with the Pacers right before the draft. At 17, they take Jalen Hood-Schifino. I said that correct, right? Yeah. Jalen Hood-Schifino. And then at 40, they took Maxwell Lewis, courtesy of that trade, where, just so you know, they traded $4 million to move up from 47 to 40. So clearly they liked what they saw out of, I assume it was what they wanted the whole time. So we have a lot to talk about today, of course. But we're going to start. We're going to start with you, Noel. I want to hear your thoughts on that number 17 Jalen Hood pick. And also, we want your thoughts, so drop them in the comments below. But Noel, let me know about Jalen Hood-Schifino. What do we need to know about him?
Just looking at his physicals, looking at what he was able to do last year with the Indiana Hoosiers, you got to be pretty happy. The Lakers usually, they like to draft like projects at this position when they go after guards. And looking at his size, he stands at 6'5", weighs in at 217. He plays a lot bigger than his 6'5" frame, just looking at some of these clips. And some of his strengths are he's going to go into the lane. He's going to be able to battle off those stronger defenders. He's going to be able to use his length to get up to the rim. And I like seeing what he does off the pick and roll. I think once you hopefully develop him in, whether he's going to be with Anthony Davis or other bigs on the Lakers, he's definitely going to be important. And I see a lot of people are looking at this as maybe a way that the Lakers don't have to give D'Angelo Russell a huge contract, where instead of a 4-year, maybe you give him a 2-year. And you hope that JHS is able to kind of develop by then. I got to give him a nickname already. So, just off the jump, haven't seen too much, haven't really seen a whole lot of clips from his workouts, but just going off of college highlights, he looks good.
Okay, Buddy?
Yeah,
anything else?
He calls himself a physical guard because he came from a physical conference in the Big Ten.
Yes, it is.
And he plays like it. I like the way he slices and dices to the lane. He's a great finisher at the rim. I think he's an underrated passer. His passes, from the highlights I was looking at, he kind of reminds me of D'Lo when he was at Ohio State, just a little bit. And obviously he has great handles. He's a 6'6" guard, little combo guard, but I think at least he feels more comfortable, at least handling the ball. I don't know how that's going to fit in with the Lakers. Then again, we don't know what's going to happen free agency and all that other stuff. But I really like the pick. I've seen a lot of people who didn't like the pick, but I personally like it. Rob Pelinka obviously liked it. He's a man that made the decision, and he feels like he's a lottery type pick. He would go from the mock drafts. He would go from ranging from 10 to 20. So we might get ourselves a lottery type player, and the front office feels like they did, and I feel like we did as well. Yeah.
So shout out Orlando and Craig Osterberg in the stream. They said hi. I want to say hi back.
What's going on?
I want to get some grades for you guys on this pick. I'm going to ask you later about other potential ways they could have gone with that pick. But for now, your grade on the Jalen Hood. I'm JHS. Your grade on the and then I have one more question. But first, grade. Actually, I'll ask the question first.
Okay.
How do you think he's kind of a ball handler? How do you think he's going to fit with LeBron? Like, you think he can play with LeBron and AD on the court? Or is he going to be maybe more of a second unit type piece when LeBron needs a rest?
I've said it time and time again. I think LeBron has always been looking for that ball handler that he could kind of defer to, where even though the Lakers are at their best when LeBron is getting most of the plays in his hands and he's able to find everybody, being one of the greatest passers to ever play the game, he needs a break. He's getting up there in age. We see him going through different injuries, and obviously he kind of just wants to chill and just kind of catch and shoot sometimes, and he hasn't always been able to do that playing with Russell Westbrook, having a lot of injured point guards all over the place. So I'm really liking what I'm seeing from JHS here, and I do think that whether the Lakers decide to plug him in off the bench immediately, I think he could be a nice kind of backup point guard, and this pick might mean that Dennis Schroeder isn't back with us, unfortunately, if the Lakers want to get the most out of him, but I see him as being obviously open to anything and helping the team wherever they need to.
Anything you want to add to that? Or?
I see him more in the second unit, at least where things stand. Like I said, we don't know what they're going to do during free agency, what's going to happen with D'Lo, what's going to happen with Shooter. From what I've heard, I feel like they do want them back, but with this pick, it's kind of like they're contradicting themselves a little bit. But if he does get the minutes, I do see him maybe 10 or 15 minutes coming off the bench and complementing those the second unit pretty well.
Yeah.
So.
Craig Osterberg had a few comments. He said most 19, 20-year-olds don't pop at that age unless you're Magic or LeBron.
Yeah.
I mean, that's true.
pretty
Obviously,
high
I mean, maybe that guy Victor Wembanyama, maybe he'll pop a little bit. And he also said, I would rather they drafted the UCLA kid. I'm assuming you mean Jaime Jaquez, who went at 18 to the Heat. It was an interesting pick. I think that was a little high for Jaime.
Yeah.
I also think that's the perfect spot for Jaime. I mean, the Heat are the exact kind of organization you imagine him at. So I think this was a good pick for the Lakers. I think there were some other options they could have gone, which we'll get to. But quick grades on the JHS pick, and then we'll move on to the number 40 pick.
I mean, quick grade, I'm gonna go with the B. I don't think he was like a hit out of the ballpark.
He's not a home run.
Yeah, you don't know about that yet. He could end up being. He was their first. I mean, actual pick that they were able to keep since Lonzo Ball back. First round pick, not actual.
Hey, Mo Wagner.
Yeah.
Mo Wagner.
Yeah.
Mo
Oh yeah,
Wagner.
yeah.
2018.
A guard. My bad.
Oh,
guard
yeah.
that they selected
Yep.
since Lonzo Ball, and there's a lot of similarities. Being 6'6", being able to pass. He has more of a jumper than Lonzo did coming out of college as far as natural mechanics.
Yeah.
So I mean, B for me.
And a lot less pressure than Lonzo had.
Way
coming out of
less
college.
pressure, yeah.
Buddy.
I would say a B plus. The only thing I probably don't like about him is his shooting percentages. He shot 40% from the field, 33% from three. So that kind of worries me a little bit, especially if he is going to play off ball from LeBron and AD. Obviously, you know, they specialize in getting the ball out, having shooters around them. So we'll see how that develops, but I'll say a B plus.
Sweet. All right, now we're going to talk Maxwell Lewis. Number 40 overall. Again, they traded up with the Pacers ahead of the draft, but you don't trade up unless you're targeting someone. They paid $4 million to the Pacers to make that deal happen. So clearly they liked what they saw and knew they'd get him in this range. Noel, you want to tell us a little bit about Mr. Maxwell Lewis out of Pepperdine?
I mean, I feel like a lot of people are saying that he might be the steal of the draft. And when you look at everything that he has going to him, I think we really do have something special on our hands here. I mean, he's a hometown kid coming from Pepperdine. He's probably the definition of a bucket getter. He averaged 17 points per game, being their number one option to go with 5 boards, and he was shooting 35% from deep. I know that isn't anything crazy, but he was shooting 43% on catch and shoot threes, which that's where he's going to be getting his looks in the Lakers. And
Lakers need a few of those guys.
Exactly, yeah. And then we're going to see him having a good time, I think, in G League and in Summer League. He's going to have a lot of freedom. He can get boards and just take off. He's going to have a lot of really high energy plays, and he missed his freshman season with the wrist injury. Only got to play 2 games, but I mean, he bounced back in his sophomore year and really didn't miss a step. So I'm excited to see what he's going to do over here in Lakerland.
Yeah, love all that stuff. I love all that stuff, especially the catch and shoot. I mean, this Lakers team has been missing that catch and shoot since. You can't even name the last great catch and shooter that they've had on this LeBron team. I mean, like they were hoping it was Malik Beasley. They were hoping it was Danny Green. They were hoping it was KCP.
Yeah.
It hasn't really been. Wayne Ellington maybe was the last good one. He kind of thrived in that role when the Lakers were bad. Buddy, anything on Maxwell Lewis?
His catch and shoot, I do love. Also, too, I think his ability to create for his own shot. His mid-range from the highlights, his mid-range, his turnaround, his fadeaway, and also just the way he creates space as well. I feel like this could be a very underrated pick. I see him, at least in Summer League, kind of like a Kyle Kuzma.
Oh, and Kuzma's going crazy.
I would not be surprised if he does that. But yeah, I really like this pick. And also, too, remember this. He was just in Pepperdine. That's not too far from the Lakers practice facility.
Not at
so
all.
I'm pretty sure they went to a handful of his games.
Oh, yeah.
Really liked what
100%.
they've seen, and that's why they moved up. I really like this one.
We got a question from Craig Osterberg. He said, which direction are Lakers going in to develop these young players or help LeBron and AD? Now, I think it's a little bit of both because these are both 20-year-olds. It's not like they were drafting 18-year-olds out there. I mean, Cam Whitmore could have been a guy that, you know, the kid has a lot of raw talent. And there were, I think, some medical issues is why he slipped. But the Lakers didn't want to take that risk. Actually, from the Athletics article today, they said the Lakers considered Cam Whitmore, according to team sources, but determined Jalen Hood-Schifino was a surer bet. So surer bet, that has to make you assume that they want these guys to contribute now. And, you know, at the same time, that means helping LeBron and AD. So I think it's a little bit of both. I think it's guys who they know that they can develop, but also guys who are going to come in and, you know, contribute to this team.
Agreed, 100%.
So let's hit some quick grades for Maxwell Lewis at number 40, and then I'll have a few more questions for you guys about the draft.
I mean, that's an A- or a B+ for me, honestly. This kid, he has probably potential through the roof. I think once you really get that jump shot going and get it down to a crisp, once he works with Phil Handy and the rest of those folks over on the coaching staff, he's going to be looking really nice. And, I mean, he's obviously not going to have as much freedom as he did in Pepperdine, but when he gets his opportunity, he's just going to need to cook up. I noticed watching his film that Pepperdine will give him the ball a lot when the shot clock was running down. And really, instead of like panicking and just chucking up like a fadeaway or a long 2, he would either get to the rim or he would create a 3-point shot. And that's what you need at the end of the shot clock.
Love that.
Exactly.
Great, buddy.
A-. and I do feel like that catch and shoot is going to come in really well. But, we're going to have to see. I mean, obviously he played for Pepperdine. That's not a powerhouse school. So we're going to have to see how that game translates to the NBA. But first, obviously, Summer League. And, hopefully it does translate pretty well. So we'll see how it plays out.
Yep. So obviously the Lakers made 2 good picks that we all like. But I do want to ask you guys, there were some other options. I want to start at number 17. Yeah. Cam Whitmore is someone they could have drafted. He ended up going 20. He fell. People had him in the top 5, so that was a big fall. So they could have gone with someone like him. And like I said, Jovan Bua of The Athletic said that they were considering it. Yeah. And also another guy I know you like, Noah Clowney. Yeah. He went 21. Yeah. I had him circled. I know you want to talk about it. So do you think that the Lakers made the right decision with Jalen Hood? And obviously we can say they did or didn't, but do you, obviously there were other options. So kind of what your thoughts of that, them passing, let's say Whitmore, Clowney, maybe somebody else in that first round?
Yeah, I mean, I was a pretty big advocate for the Lakers to go big in that first pick. I was even saying that maybe they should trade up, try to get Derek Lively the second.
Which would have been nice.
Yeah,
that would have been.
Obviously, they didn't, but the only reason why I'm not too upset about that is because, I mean, watching more of JHS, obviously, you see the upside. I see a lot of people comparing him to kind of Shea when he was coming out of college. Yeah. And that's a pretty interesting comparison, seeing their length, seeing their size, and just the overall IQ where it comes to working out of the pick and roll.
Shea's pretty good.
Yeah, she's all right. She's all right. Not too bad. But also looking at what the Lakers did after the draft, this is why I'm not too mad they didn't go big. They were able to come up on another big man out of Florida by the name of
Colin
Castleton. Yes. Yeah. And he has 5 college seasons to his name. He has a ton of experience. He can shoot. He can work in the post. He kind of has a similar game to Sengun out of the Houston Rockets. Yeah. So, I mean, you can't be too upset about that. I feel like really the Lakers know what they're doing, especially with their undrafted guys. We've seen what Austin Reeves can do. So, I mean, yeah, JHS looks like he could be special, and they still have their big man frontiers all stood up right now.
Yeah. Thoughts on what they did at 17, who they passed up on?
Yeah, man, I can't really be mad at that. I mean, 17, it's either, I guess, like a hit or miss. You really don't know what you're going to get from these guys. A lot of fans were upset that they didn't get Cam Whitmore, right?
Yeah.
He ended up falling to Houston, which is fine. I really like that Jalen Hood Shafino pick. We'll see how that turns out. I really like his game. I didn't really like anything I seen but the shooting. And then also, too, going back to what Noel said about Castleton, he was projected to go early to mid second round.
Yeah.
And we pretty much got him for free. So hopefully that pick turns out well. We're gonna see how he does in summer league. But other than that, I mean, Jalen, no complaints on my end from that one.
So I like how you mentioned the undrafted. They got Colin Castleton. They also got Demoy Hodge, a guard out of Missouri, and then they also got Alex Fudge, also a forward out of Florida. So clearly they like the Florida. Demoy Hodge is interesting. This guy shot 40% from deep. He averaged 2.6 steals per game.
Sniper.
Oh my God.
So that's kind of the 3-and-D you're looking for. And it was 40% from 3 on 7 attempts per game. So this guy can shoot. He can defend. I'm honestly interested to see what Demoy Hodge can do.
For sure.
So, you like those. And Colin Castleton, he averaged I think it was like 11 to 16 points, something like that. 7.7.
Couple blocks too. Yeah,
16 points on 50% shooting, 7.7 rebounds, and 3 blocks per game.
That's huge. That's huge.
Maybe he can carve out a little role too. You never know. Now let's go to the number 40 pick. Obviously, you have to assume they were locked in on Maxwell Lewis, but they did pass on some names. Sidi Sissoko, someone who Alex Kirschenbaum, who was on the show,
he would have been tough too.
Wednesday really liked. Amari Bailey went at 41. Sissoko went at 44. Keontae Johnson went at 50. Someone I was looking at, and then. Kind of a surprise, Trace Jackson Davis went all the way to the second to last pick at 57. Do you wish the Lakers went somewhere else, or are you kind of satisfied with the Maxwell Lewis?
I mean, Sidi Sissoko, like when we saw those highlights, all those watches together, he looks like a very someone that you could kind of experiment with and kind of potentially grow into a star. I saw a lot of Siakam in his game. Yeah. Kind of just the way he's able to get to the rim and pass off. So if the Lakers are going with him, wouldn't be too mad. But I mean, Maxwell Lewis, he's looking really good. And I mean, I just saw that they released a potential Lakers Summer League starting 5. A lot of people are kind of
people having fun with it.
Got Cole Swider in there. Obviously, he's going to be in there. Yeah, Max Christie. Those are the 2 guys that are going to be leading the group. And then you got all these new guys coming in. I mean, I think Max Lewis is going to have a big role on this team.
Yeah, me too.
He's looking good.
Yeah, the one I probably would have liked is Keontae Johnson. I really like what I seen from him in Kansas State, especially in that tournament run.
Yeah.
And then I brought up Trace Jackson Davis on Wednesday. I mean, I would have liked him as well, but I'm not mad at that Lewis. at that lowest pick, especially.
I'm
from what I've
surprised
seen.
Trace Jackson went that low.
Yeah,
that was actually surprising.
Yeah, he tweeted after. He was like, "Yeah, they're all going to regret it."
No, yeah.
I mean, honestly, I think if anyone's gonna, usually those don't mean much, but he might
There's
be
always
right
that one
about
player that
one.
says that too.
Craig Osterberg in the stream, he said Lakers picked up some good undrafted free agents. They always do. He also said there's always players in the draft who are drafted higher who do better than top 10 picks. Yeah, I mean, the Lakers are one of the teams that prove that they can draft later in the draft and come up with talent. We also got Straightway Georgia Elder Rufus. He says salute. What's up, Straightway Georgia?
What's going on,
Elder Rufus?
Yeah, I mean, real quick about that Craig comment, it's pretty crazy when you think about it. All the talented basketball players in the world each year and kind of delegated to the 60 picks.
Yeah,
like
that's
I mean,
insane.
outside of
and
like
this year 58 with the two that were
exactly,
That makes
like outside of the like top 5 to 10 really that are like are gonna hit. Like it's pretty crazy after that you're like all of these basketball players in the world you could choose from, and then the pressure on the scouts is just immense.
It's crazy.
The Lakers seem to always come up clutch. I'm like
Joey
right
Buss. He always knows
Exactly.
what he's
Jesse Buss,
doing.
man.
Jesse
Yep.
Buss. Jesse Buss. Yeah, they always know what they're doing. All right, we're gonna talk a little draft as a whole. Who was your biggest winner? If
Just
you
like
have one overall, it doesn't have to be a Laker. I mean, obviously the Spurs we can all say is a winner, but we'll stay away from that. Who do you think had a really good draft?
I mean, I'm looking at Houston first off, just seeing how they were able to get Amen Thompson, and then you also get
Cam Whitmore at number 20.
Cam Whitmore, who was literally looked at as like a top 4 pick. They probably could have like
if they took him at 4, I don't think anyone would have been like, that's a bad pick.
Exactly. So they could have took him at 4, but the fact you get Amen Thompson, who could be a generational point guard, who yes, athleticism is out of the roof, can shoot, can play the pick and roll, is coming from that OTE league.
Yep.
And then you also get Cam Whitmore, a project that you can develop and you don't need to really throw out right away because they already have a lot of young guys. There's no pressure on them to win a title.
Maybe too many young guys.
Exactly.
Yeah, I mean, that's the thing. They got a lot. I mean, Jalen Green,
Yes.
Kevin Porter Jr. I love Shengun as a player.
Yeah, he's
Maybe
a
James Harden comes around. Then
Exactly.
you're building something in Houston.
Yeah,
I don't know. Yeah, you're building something in Houston.
That starting 5 of young guys I think is going to be really
really
good.
fun.
Yeah, a lot of people like to make fun of them, but I mean, I think they're gonna be tough.
They have a lot of talented basketball players, buddy.
Biggest winner, I would say, I really liked Derek Lively going to Dallas.
Yeah.
He got drafted by OKC, but obviously that trade went down. I think they finally have that athletic big I think they were looking for. They tried it with Kristaps Porzingis. That didn't work. Nope. Derek Lively, I really like what I seen from him.
Yeah, Christian Wood didn't work either.
Yeah, and that too as well. So I'm going to go with Derek Lively.
Yeah, and you got to give some props to the Mavericks. They trade down, still get the player they wanted, also get rid of Davis Bertans' contract, and then use that the TPE to get Richaun Holmes, who also, he was a starting center for the Kings for
a good big man,
a lot
really
of the year. So they get 2 big men. They get rid of Davis Bertans. Really good draft from the Dallas Mavericks. Another question. Biggest surprise of the draft, if you have one. It's kind of, they just put you guys on the spot.
No,
I'll go.
Buddy goes first.
Biggest surprise, no major trades didn't go down.
Yeah.
The Lakers didn't do anything. Obviously, we're all waiting for the Blazers to do something,
know,
but they're keeping
They got
Damian locked up in the cage.
4 great guards that are all going to be fighting for the ball.
That does not make sense to me, but obviously that's a conversation for another day. And then Miami not doing anything. Yeah, just pretty much no major trades.
The only one was
we
before.
all expected at least one thing to happen, right?
Yeah, all the trades were before, and then kind of nothing happened. That number 3 Blazers, like I love Scoot Henderson, but Scoot, Dame, Anthony Simons, Shaedon Sharp.
No idea what they're doing.
Way too many guards. They got to have to do something. All right,
biggest just got to get out of there.
Yes, he does.
Now my biggest surprise, I think I'm gonna go with Scoot actually not going to the Hornets because leading up to it, everybody was saying Brandon Miller was the guy for Charlotte. Then literally the day of, the odds shift back to Scoot going to Charlotte.
It's all smoke.
Exactly. Yeah. So I mean, you really can't go wrong with either pick. Both of them are probably gonna be really good players, and the final decision went down to Michael Jordan. But I don't know, at that point, seeing what Michael Jordan has done with the franchise, I think you ask his opinion and then you do the exact opposite.
Honestly, I'm with you. I thought they should have gone Scoot, but I mean, all the talk was about Brandon Miller, so I was like, I guess they're. I thought it was all smoke, so I was wrong. Brandon Miller ends up being the guy. We'll see what happens in Charlotte. It's kind of always been a mess in Charlotte. Definitely, probably, in my opinion, one of the worst landing spots at this point, just with all the chaos that's going on. But I guess Brandon Miller kind of fits right into that chaos.
But also when you see the team that they're going to have now with Brandon Miller, they're going to have a really tall, big team. Because you have LaMelo, who's already a big point guard. You're going to have Brandon Miller, who's tall as well. You have Miles Bridges coming back finally.
Maybe. Hopefully.
He's going to miss like 10 to 15 games
we'll see what happens with that. No, I mean, it's a really interesting young roster.
Yeah.
All right, so we're going to do a lot of off-season shows. So I don't want to get too much into it. Next week, obviously, is when free agency starts officially. We're going to have multiple shows before then, so make sure you guys stay tuned for that. But a little mini preview of what's to come on these off-season shows. The Lakers now have 2 new players they drafted. 3 more are undrafted. You know, we'll see what they fit. So what do you think are the Lakers' biggest needs now as we enter, free agency, which starts June 30th? So a week from today, free agency starts. What are the Lakers' biggest needs? So obviously, their roster right now is LeBron, it's AD, it's Jared Vanderbilt, it's Max Christie, and it's their 2 rookies.
Yeah.
That's the only thing that we know.
Yeah.
So biggest needs that they have to address this free agency.
I mean, first things first, I think number 1, number 2, re-sign Austin Reeves, re-sign Rui Hachimura. You didn't get Kyrie Irving just yet. You didn't make an insane bombshell trade during the draft.
Yeah, Chris Paul's not coming.
Chris Paul is not coming. So, I mean, first off, re-sign the guys that really helped get you to where you got to in the 2022 to 2023 season. We started off with a horrible record, but then these young guys were able to come in and just really take over the city and help us get to the Western Conference Finals. So, first off, get those guys their contracts. And then I think you need to start targeting some more wings, some more shooting, because that is what's going to take us again. That's what's going to help relieve pressure off of LeBron and AD. So those are my number 1, number 2 priorities for them.
All right, buddy.
Number 1, easily Austin Reeves and Rui Hachimura. These with them two, LeBron James and Anthony Davis, we've seen how they thrived in the playoffs and towards the end of the regular season. I love those 4 together, especially Austin Reeves. And then after that, I think a big.
Yeah,
they need a big to complement Anthony Davis. Maybe someone like Nas Reed. I like Nas Reed.
Brig Lopez up there.
Maybe Brig.
Yeah, he's another one.
But yeah, Austin, Rui, and a big.
Yeah, so we got Straightway Georgia, Elder Rufus. He said Dallas, Houston, Lakers, and Hornets did well in the draft. Yeah. So he likes those picks. And Pale Fox said sign and trade Reeves and Rui's stock never will be higher.
Wow, that is
Pale, you might have to say more. Oh, Pale said Reeves and Rui are not getting better. Peaked time to trade quick. It's a hot take from Pale.
Yeah, that is.
Rui, maybe I could agree with a little bit. Reeves, I think, is still growing. Yeah. I feel like Reeves is only going to get better. Yeah, Rui, I could agree that he could have this could be the highest his stock is after that.
But also, you used to be the biggest Rui hater in the
I
world.
was just a realist. I was waiting for him to show, and then he showed. But it's an interesting take from Pale Fox. I think Reeves has to be a part of the future. Yeah. But yeah, I mean, Rui's someone, but also in sign and trades, you don't really get the full value for the player anyway. So it's kind of hard to do something like that.
Usually the sign and trade is because a player wants to go to that team and the other team just kind of helps you out.
So it'd be more sign and then trade like later in the year, which is always an option. But
are they both 25 too? Or
they're young. I mean, Austin Reeves feels like someone who has to be around for a while. I mean, that's obviously priority number 1. Pale Fox says the 2 guys drafted are literally their positions and higher upside. I mean, Pale, I love the takes. I mean, I absolutely love the takes.
Yeah, that's actually hot.
Make sure Rui Hachimura was a lottery pick.
He does have a high upside.
I mean, I really love Maxwell. Like I'm talking about.
Yeah, we're talking about him like he's like the next Stephen Curry.
But Rui Hachimura literally had like he had like Kobe-esque bench games.
I mean, that was a 29-point game. That mid range was. I mean, people are calling him mini Kawhi. I mean, here's the thing. We love the takes. Pale, you're gonna have to come back. We'll be live again next week. You need to come back.
Really good takes.
Give us some more of those takes. And the last one from Craig, he said, go back to 2020 formula, 2 agile centers. Yeah, people love that formula of Dwight Howard and JaVale McGee. I mean, that was a really fun one.
They need to.
I would honestly love JaVale McGee back at this point. I mean, like that just feels like such a great fit. He's the same player he was. Yeah, I mean, they need a big. They need wings. And, of course, they need Austin Reeves. Maybe not to Pale Fox's idea, but they should that should be priority 1.
We like the hot takes though.
No, we love
them. Yeah, I haven't heard that one yet. That's the first I've heard.
Pale, you're gonna be back next week, and you're gonna give us some more of these takes. And as always, want all your takes below on all these topics. The pick on Jalen Hood-Schifino, the pick on Maxwell Lewis. We want the 3 undrafted free agents. We want who do you think the Lakers should have taken instead? If you disagree, we want grades on the picks. Who won the draft? Biggest surprise. The Lakers' biggest needs moving up. We're finally here. The draft is over. Trades are already flying. NBA free agency, which is by far the best offseason in all of sports, as we know.
Easily.
It's 1 week away. So make sure you're staying tuned on the Lakers 248 YouTube channel. We'll be going live, and we want you there too. All offseason long. We got breaking news. We got the latest rumors, the hottest topics. You can all find it at this channel. So make sure you're subscribed. Make sure you hit the notification bell so you know when we're live. Like all of this stuff because that helps us build the channel. And of course, we want you in the live streams all the time. So
and tune into All Lakers too for all.
And alllakers.com will have all the news. So you come join us on Lakers 248 YouTube, and you can read about it on All Lakers. And you can come. You got some facts to bring to the fight.
Yes, sir.
As always, this is Noel Sanchez. Follow him at Noise by Noel. Twitter, TikTok, Instagram, Facebook, MySpace, bring it all over here. Ricardo Buddy Sandoval at _Ricardo Sand. Follow him everywhere too.
sir.
And I'm Noah Cameras. You can follow me at Noah Cameras. Make sure you subscribe to the Lakers 248 channel, and we'll see you next week. And until next time, go Lakers!
It's a parade, it's a city.